Good morning, everyone. So today is Monday, the 26th of January. As usual, we're all gathering here at this time to pay our respect to the Buddha, to show our appreciation and gratitude for his kindness and compassion towards the entire beings. This is also an opportunity for all of us to reflect on his teachings and try to apply in our day-to-day life. This Buddhism is regarded as one of the religions in the world that more compassionate and more kindness. Sharing kindness and compassion to the entire world without any backgrounds or any discrimination to anybody. So Buddhism is a knowledge, is a philosophy that the Buddha taught 2,600 years ago. The Buddha who was born in Lumbini, current day in Nepal, at the age of 35, after 6 years of effortless practices, he was enlightened and attained the Buddhahood, which is the supreme title that one could ever think of. It is the state of liberation. We have to remember here that the Buddha's enlightenment was not a simple task and was not the task that everyone could do. The knowledge that he acquired on the night of the enlightenment was gained through the process of series of practices, life after life, perfecting all the perfections. So his teachings, the Buddha's teachings, has a lot to do with the concept that he laid down as a cornerstones of Buddhism is the Triple Zen. In the Triple Zen, the first Zen is the Buddha, second is the Dhamma, and third is the teachings. So the third is the followers or the Sangha, disciples of the Buddha. So which is the reason that whenever somebody takes this path to be the Buddhist or walking on the path to the Buddha, to enlightenment and knowledge, one has to take a refuge on the Triple Zen, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. We have to remember further on that there are two types of taking the Triple Zen. The first one is the internal type or internal Triple Zen, which dwells within us, in every human beings. And this internal Triple Zen is the highest refuge of all that we could have, because it can help us to escape from suffering, from being born in the samsara again and again. It helps us to find the path to eliminate the causes and conditions that makes us to be reborn again and again in the samsara. And the second one, or a second type of triple Zem, is external, which serves to lead us to the attainment of the internal Zem, triple Zem. It's like a signpost or the object of a veneration. So this external triple Zem is basically includes the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So that is the reason why we pay respect and honor to the triple Zem so highly, as these are the path that leads us to the inner triple Zem, arousing the triple Zem within ourselves. Which is the reason why a Buddha encouraged to take the refuge on a triple Zem, which is the highest refuge, because it can lead us out from suffering. The Buddha said that people take refuge on different things, mountains and trees and objects and rivers and so on. But these are not the great refuge, because it doesn't lead to the elimination of the greed, hatred and delusion, or cause and conditions that makes us to be reborn again and again. Whereas the moment when we take the refuge on triple Zem, triple Zem teaches us to understand the true suffering and the cause and condition that leads to the becoming. So the Buddha's teaching, which is also known as the Dhamma, is the knowledge that flows out of the internal triple Zem. So we take a refuge and pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha regularly, simply to arouse that Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha within ourselves, Buddha in our mind. The Dhamma gradually sprouts out and we become the part of the Sangha. Now when we talk about the Dhamma is nothing more than the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Truth. And this Noble Truth is nothing to do with any denomination, any faith, any religion. It is something that the reality of our own life. It explains the reality of our life and a beneficial way that one could follow to live a life, or healthy life, or benefit for oneself and then for the others. In order to understand this Four Noble Truth, obviously it takes time, as we know. To understand our life is not that simple. It takes time and it takes lots of introspective or lots of reflections. Day by day we are learning every day. Every single moment we are learning ourselves. And yet, often we are disappointed that why I am having these other troubles. Troubles after troubles. There was a moment when a Buddha began his teachings, spreading the Dhamma to the benefit of all beings. Disciples of the Buddha increased dramatically. And within the 9 months, there were over 3,000 monks. And among those monks, 1,250 monks, those who ordained by the Buddha, gained the arhatship and spread the Dhamma, walking around villages and towns, all gathered on one of the full moon days, which is nowadays known as the Bhaga Puja, which normally falls in February during the Valentine's Day. When these monks came to pay respect to the Buddha, now these monks again all came to pay respect to the Buddha without prior invitation. These all purely came to pay respect to the Buddha with a hope that we haven't seen the Buddha and now we need some instructions and admonition from the Buddha. The commentary also suggests that because they had been ordained and they had been attained the arhatship, their mind were connected. So as soon as one monk thought of going to see the Buddha for the admonition, rest of other 1,249 monks also took that thought and went to see the Buddha. On that day, the Buddha taught Sabba papasya akaranam kusala sopasampada sachitta parayodapanam etang buddhana sasana. Which means Sabba papasya akaranam. Sabba papasya akaranam. Don't do or not to do any misdeeds, unwholesome activities, unbeneficial deeds. The kusalasopasampada means perform any wholesome deeds. Sachitta parayodapanam, make your mind clear and bright. Etang buddhana sasana, this is the teachings of all Buddhas. So that's why here the word Buddha Sasana, this is indicating the teachings of the Buddha. And in basic form, teachings of the Buddha categorized in this stanza. Don't do evil, do good, and purify the mind. So we are here learning these teachings of the Buddha with the beginning of paying respect to the Triple Zen, taking the outside veneration object into ourself and performing these regular perfections by veneration and homage, eventually it shapes us not to do anything that is not wholesome and cultivating good things, starting from this chanting every morning, and if possible, whenever possible, doing dana, helping out in different ways and different forms, and which is again an accumulation of the merit and the purification, the cultivation of the mind, purify the mind, the purification of the mind. So the main teachings of the Buddha, which is the Four Noble Truths, again it's stemmed out from this practice of a not to do any evil, do good, and practice of a cultivation, the clear mind and the bright mind. It helps us to understand that why my mind is not clear, why am I still engaged with unwholesome activities? That's simply because we haven't seen the suffering as clear as it should be. The dukkha. When we don't see it clearly, then we don't know the real cause of it, and we can't end this problem, the suffering. As a result, we're going back to the samsara, this dukkha, again and again. So taking the triple zim as the refuge and taking internal and external, or taking external to cultivate the inner refuge, is actually the teachings of the Buddha. Because once we take it on, then it really helps us to shape ourselves, shape our actions, physical actions, verbal actions, and mental action. The beauty of the Buddha's teachings, however, is that it's not that whatever the Buddha told, we should believe in it. We can question, investigate. Even the Buddha, just before his parinirvana, he encouraged those who were attending his last moment of the time, addressed to them that should anyone has any doubts or questions about the Buddha, about the Dhamma, about the Sangha, which is the triple zim, about the path, and also any other practices, let them ask a question or raise the concern, so that after Buddha gone, no one would regret that, why didn't I ask while the Buddha was still alive? And it appears that according to the scripture, no monks ask or said any concerns. That probably because majority of them had attained enlightenment, or at least some degree of understanding, the taking the triple zim as the greatest refuge. So we can see that although Buddha had given these lectures or the talks and sermons in different places to the different people for 45 years, and yet he opened his mind and asked his own disciples to question or to say some concerns. And that concern, again, nothing to do with any politics, nothing to do with any social conditions, nothing to do with any governments, any wars, or any economics. It is to do with the Buddha and Dhamma, Sangha, and the path and the fruition. So this is also indicates that how much important the Triple Zen is, and how much once someone has committed would get the benefit from it. So taking the external objects, the Buddha and Dhamma and the Sangha, as our refuge, in fact, is a signpost that we are walking through this sign and find and developing the inner refuge within ourselves to find the path and the fruition to free ourselves, from getting rebirths again and again. So that's why, once again, we are here to show our respect to the Triple Zen, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, taking this external into cultivation, the inner Triple Zen, to know things the way it is, to be awakened from the sleepiness of due to the delusion, and being mindful, aware of every act that we perform. So we're very fortunate to have these opportunities, and we are trying to do it regularly as much as possible in order to get more benefits for this life and hereafter, which will be also cause for the attainment of Nibbana in the near future. So with this, may you all be well and happy.